So a lot of persons called me. There's an old saying, fools rush in where angels fear to trod. That's just true. Right now in Trinidad and Tobago, fishermen afraid to go out, making international news. US military planes flying over, doing all sorts of maneuvers. You know what they're doing? They're doing surveillance of Trinidad and Tobago. See if you're going out on a boat, they could bomb you too. So what they're doing, upsetting your livelihood. People can't sleep good at night. Southwest Trinidad, the amount of messages I get, where the day? Let me see if I find them. North Coast of Tobago, planes flying over, flying over, flying over, and everybody's scared. You think crime was bad? You think people was fearful when they had the crime situation in Trinidad? It's now they're worried. You understand? It's an aircraft, I check it out. It's actually a Boeing P-8, specializing in long-range operations, anti-submarine and anti-surface warfare, intelligence and surveillance. It's a reconnaissance plane. Yeah, that is what Kamla allowed to happen to Trinidad and Tobago. For the warmongers from Washington, D.C. to come and upset your way of life, to upset your way of living. Trinidad and Tobago is making news on the international scene. Day after day, not for good news, but for bad news, for facilitating the Americans' war of aggression and possible invasion of Venezuela. I will sit down and relax myself because some of you, the scrapeheads them especially, you must learn to understand that war is not a jokey thing. You understand where I'm coming from? Some of you need to live in Gaza for a week and get experience. Then you will understand why we don't foment wars around here. It's the zone of peace. Unlike what the Prime Minister of Trinidad said, that is an illusion. But my good lady, a zone of peace simply means that states are not fighting against each other. Trinidad doesn't have a war against Grenada. Grenada doesn't have one against St. Vincent or Barbados. That is what a zone of peace means. You'll have murders every now and then in a country. That's normal. But you have allowed the Americans to upset the zone of peace in this Caribbean here. And you have to take blame and responsibility for it. You have to take blame and responsibility when people in Trinidad live in fear like how they're living right now because of what is happening in the southwestern part of Trinidad. And planes flying over Tobago, people don't know where they are. Can't sleep at night. You know the amount of messages I just get? I don't even know if you just get half of the messages there. And those in Washington who fomenting this ignorance in the Caribbean, they don't have to worry because no aircraft is flying over their heads at night. They're well protected. But you, on the other hand, down here in the Caribbean, live in absolute panic and terror because they have upsetted your way of life. 89 cruise ships coming to Kingston in this port season here. 89 cruise ships coming to Kingston in this tourist season here. It had 189 last year. You know why? You know what the excuse they're giving? That the southwestern Caribbean is very unstable. So they don't want to do too much cruises down here. Other islands getting rejected too. You know who causing that? The same Americans that you, Kamla, Passad, Bissese, supporting with your ignorance. But you welcome the US troops to Trinidad. You welcome the US troops to the Caribbean to fight drugs. They ain't fighting no drugs. They get the oil from Maduro. And when they get it, they leave you in your own shell shock to deal with the drug problem that will continue. And the scrapeheads them who continue to support this kind of ignorance will soon learn that war is not played in isolation. Don't think it will be Venezuela alone getting the bombs and the guns. You don't start to feel the difference in Trinidad. Not true? Many of you don't start to feel the difference. Just a simple plane flying over day and night. You can't rest. It's just a simple beginning of things to come. And I'm also hearing that they want to ask Grenada to rest military assets there. Warning the people of this Caribbean here. The scrapeheads who don't understand the veracity of war and what it can do to you and your children. Spend a week in Gaza if you don't believe what I'm telling you. Spend a week in Gaza. And people are devilish in nature. I'm tired warning you all about this. Stop supporting ignorance. You all have a good day. Have a good day now.
What a 1 for 3, boy. They're huge, you know. Fuck. Are they real big, you know?